Some of you have requested for me to make this video. It's about Zen Devil. Being a Zen Devil. Today we're going to talk about what that is and what that means, and how you yourself can prevent yourself from becoming a Zen Devil, as well as not falling into the trap of following a Zen Devil. So let's get into it right now. According to tradition, you would have had monastery. You would go to a monastery. There you're meditating under a master, someone that has been doing this for a long time, and you would train under this master. You would meditate under this master, and he would hold you accountable. He would hold you to very strict rules. If you look at these monasteries, they have to wake up very early. They have to meditate a certain amount of hours a day. They have to do this and this and that. It's a very disciplined life. It's a life dedicated towards spiritual growth. It's really a dedication, a lifelong dedication towards developing yourself. And due to dogma and traditions and things that are not important, we created this kind of non-duality Neo-Advaita movement. This Neo-Advaita movement came about, and instead of being very strict and practicing very strictly disciplined like a monk, now everyone can just become a spiritual teacher. And now everyone can just become a spiritual leader. And now everyone can just, because they practice meditation once a week, talk about meditation and everything that's from the East, where all these traditions are in place and all these rules are into place. All of that is too strict. It's all too strict. It's all too disciplined. You want to be more free, more loose, just do our thing. Because ultimately, it's about enlightenment. It's about freedom. And so the typical idea of enlightenment to people is that once they become enlightened, now they're free, and now they no longer have to meditate, they no longer have to practice, they no longer have to do anything. They can just be perfect no matter what they do. No matter what they do, they're perfect and they're enlightened, and there's nothing to be criticized about that. And so what Neo-Advaita does is it takes away all the fluff around enlightenment. They just say a direct path towards enlightenment. It's just a direct path. Here it is. Here's what you got to practice. Here's what you got to do. This is it. Forget about all the traditions. Forget about all the rules, the disciplines, everything that was set into place to actually not create Zen Devils. All of that was set into place to not create Zen Devils. And now we're taking away all of that to just show you a direct path. And once you have come to the end of the direct path, now you're enlightened. Now there's nothing you need to develop ever again, and that's it. Now you can speak from your high horse and say to everyone what you think, what you know, all of this stuff. So what could go wrong by just teaching a direct path? Ultimately, that's what we want, right? We want enlightenment. So why not faster? Why not sooner? Why not just get it now and just find the most direct path towards getting it? The reason is because the rules, the disciplines that were set into place were there because the journey doesn't end when you get enlightened. They say chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. The discipline doesn't end. The journey doesn't end. It doesn't stop, because just because you had some experience doesn't mean you have integrated now a complete selfless version of yourself. It's a lifelong journey. It's a lifelong journey. Before enlightenment, after enlightenment, it's a lifelong journey of becoming more conscious all the time. So you never really are on a pedestal. You never really have arrived at the end. You never really are the teacher. You are always learning. So what could possibly go wrong? What could possibly go wrong with a direct path? Now here it goes. Intellectually understanding something is something completely different than how you live and what you do. I can understand exactly how a train works, but it doesn't mean I can build a train. I can exactly understand how a car works, everything about the car, but it doesn't mean I have the skill to drive it. These are different things. And therefore, when people get all these non-duality concepts, they start to think that now they understand it, they got it, and that's it. And that's just not true, because you are always alive, and therefore you always have some form of ego. You always have some form of ego, maybe not in the biggest sense, but in the sense that you don't want to kill this body. You want to survive, you want to eat, you want to drink, you want to sleep, and therefore you're trying to take care of your needs till the very day you die. And that doesn't stop when you become enlightened. It's not like now you're free of that ego completely. You're not free completely of that ego. You maybe have found a more non-dualistic essence that you can bask in, but that doesn't mean that you're now living like a god. You are still human. You're a human being. You're not just being, you're human as well. And therefore you have this human aspect that traditions have set all kinds of rules about. For example, if you take Christianity, right? You shall not kill, you shall not steal, you shall not cheat. All of these things, they seem like so moralistic. Is it really horrible that they have all these rules into place? Because without all these rules into place, we wouldn't have a functioning society, and you wouldn't even have time to meditate, because constantly people will be raping and cheating and stealing from each other. These rules by Christianity, these rules by Hinduism, these rules by traditional religious ways are set into place so that we can have a functioning society, so that we can live in peace. You cannot live in peace in a chaotic society. There needs to be structure, there needs to be rules, there needs to be things into place for us to have peace. Without these structures, there is no peace. And the best way I can explain this is, let's say we have all these non-duality concepts and we give it to a monkey. What is the monkey gonna do? It maybe understands it intellectually, understands everything it's gonna do, but we all know the nature of a monkey. And what the monkey is gonna do is it's gonna use all of that information to optimize its survival. It's gonna use all of that information to optimize his status in the tribe. So now the monkey, what they will do, it will come to all its friends and its family and it will say, I have spoken to God. I've spoken to God, and this is what God said to me. It created this kind of way to put itself on a pedestal and have all of its servants serving him. And now we can very easily see what a monkey would do, right? Monkey would be like, okay, I want more bananas, right? I want more bananas, I want more this or I want more that. Devote that to me, give that to me, because I'm connected to God, because I'm connected to the universe. And I told you what his message was. So this is very sneaky monkey behavior, but we as humans are not much better than these monkeys. We really are not that much better than these monkeys. And if we're not aware that we are not better than any of these monkeys, we're not going to understand that all of these spiritual knowledge things can be used for evil and bad. So it really is not about knowledge. It's really not about what you know. It really is not about your insights. It really is not about all of this mental growth. It's about actually your living, your lifestyle, how you live, what you do. It's not so much about what you say, but what you do. Look at Mother Teresa. Look at what she has done. Look at Amma. I've seen Amma myself live in person, and there's just such a love coming from her, you know. There is such a devotion towards her path. But even though she has reached a high stage of love, that doesn't mean now that she's on a cocky, knowledgeable pedestal, debating with other people, constantly fighting with other people, constantly trying to be on a higher position than other people, putting yourself above it because you have attained something that others don't, so now you're on the high horse. This is a monkey. This is monkey mindset. This is the monkey idea of I'm bigger than you, you are smaller than me. All of this is a game that's being played, and that's leading towards Zen Devil. Now we have a great example of a Zen Devil, and this is Bentinho Massaro. I already made videos about Bentinho Massaro, and that's actually what inspired me to talk about this, because it's so obvious with Bentinho Massaro, but it points out something very good. It's pointing out a flaw within the teachings of nowadays. What is, we lack strict rules, strict traditions, strict things that make society function, that make peace and love possible, because without these restrictions, we are living in the Middle Ages. Have you ever looked at the Middle Ages? How people just killed each other, stole from each other all the time, raped each other. All of this was just happening all the time. And maybe Middle Ages is not that long ago, maybe even before that, right? So very, very long time ago, we were living like monkeys. Nowadays, we're still living like monkeys, just a little less. We're a bit more civilized. we have more societies living according to traditions, towards the Bible and towards the Quran, or all of these traditions that create structure and show what you should not do. Basic morality of you should not kill someone. Okay, we had to write that down, because if we didn't write that down, it would just happen. If it wasn't written down in a Bible or in a book or in a law, it would just happen all the time, everywhere. It's only because we have developed as a society that we now take it for granted that we can walk around in peace on the street. And this is not even true everywhere. You still have places where you cannot walk in peace on the street, because you don't know who you can trust or who you cannot trust. But overall, I would say you can walk a lot more in peace nowadays than back in time. So what does non-duality do? It says everything is one. There's no good nor there's no bad. All of these things, there's no duality. All of these things, philosophically speaking, might be good. But actually in the real life, we should make a distinction between good and bad. Practically speaking, in this world, we have to distinguish good from bad. Because otherwise, we're going to live in a complete chaotic middle-aged time. We cannot have any peace if there's no rules. Practically speaking, all of these traditions, they set a foundation, maybe not the perfect foundation, but they set a foundation to create a more civilized and actually more conscious society in a sense, because now people can have time to relax and to not to have to worry about their survival all the time. You have time to relax. You going to your spa and enjoying your spa and all of this stuff, it's very, very much a privilege. It's a modern thing. It couldn't happen back in the day. It's only now that we have created a more civilized society that we can have moments of relaxation, of time off, of being relaxed. All of that is very new. It's new. It's relatively new. And we shouldn't take it for granted. Definitely not break these things down. In fact, I would say it's more important that we have these rules into place than any spiritual development. Spiritual development is a cherry on top of the cake. But without the cake, there's no cherry on top. So we need to build the cake. The cake is the structure of society where we have good and bad, where we have things that are illegal and that are not illegal, things that you can go to prison for and not. All of these things build a structure so that psychopaths are not running the world, so that narcissists are not running the world, so that we cannot just do endless crime again and again and again and again. These are very good things. These are more important than spirituality itself, because without all of these things into place, we wouldn't have spirituality in the first place, because we would be constantly living in survival mode. So you might not agree with everything the Bible says. You might not agree with everything that the Quran says or any type of religious text. You might not agree with all these things, but these things were set into place for a reason. And if we cannot appreciate that, we become a Zen Devil. Now, what are the traits of a Zen Devil? A Zen Devil basically bypasses all humanness. We're no longer human, we're just being, we're just essence, we're just pure I am. That's what we are, and we no longer have to deal with all of these human issues because we're not that. We're not the human, we're not the ego. So we just bypass the ego, the human, everything that's part of this world, we bypass and we go directly to source. And that should be the solution. The thing is you can be blissed out, you can be happy, being in source and all of that. But at the end of the day, you're still a human. You still have to eat, you still have to drink, you still have to work. Unless you choose to end it all, you're still having to live in this world. And it's more important how you live in this world than your spiritual development. That is just a cherry on top of the cake. We have to look at the foundation, the humanness. Is that really civilized? Is that really conscious? Because truly, I see a lot of spirituality that's full of Zen Devil behavior. Both in teachers, both in students, in all of these. There is constantly this sneaky, knowledgeable mind that uses all of the spirituality to now make an excuse and justify any type of devilish behavior. Because if there's non-duality, there's no good, there's no bad. Anything you can do, you can justify by non-duality, because ultimately there's no good or bad. There's nothing you have to do because everything is one. There's no thing you can do wrong. Everything is perfect because everything is one. And everything is the one infinite creator, perfection, all of that. Therefore, you think there is no good or bad. There is no duality. There's none of this. It's all non-duality. This is bypassing all of humanness. If you really take that teaching serious, it means you should end your life, because living life, you're not gonna be this ultra non-dualistic being. You are still gonna be human, and you're still gonna use all of the non-dualistic teachings to optimize your human survival, and do it in a way that's way worse, way worse than just a human trying to survive. Because now you're using all your survival strategies in the name of spirituality, in the name of spiritual growth. So what happens now? Let's say you put yourself on a pedestal. You now say you are enlightened, and maybe you are enlightened, all of that. And now there's no longer any discipline necessary, because you already have achieved it. There's no longer any accountability necessary, because you are on the top. You are on your pedestal. So no accountability is necessary for you. You are the master now. You are now one with God. You're one with God, so everything you do is perfect. It's coming not from your ego ever. It's always coming from your non-dualistic, godly channel. What's completely false. I do a lot of things that come from my ego. I do a lot of things that maybe come from source. But to say that everything I do is coming from God is completely blind. You have to be blind to your own ego to not see that. And this is what Zen Devil does. The Zen Devil now puts itself on a pedestal, and it can drink alcohol all the time. It can party, it can go loose, it can have a bunch of sex. It can do all of these things. It doesn't matter if there's anything bad that I do, because there's no bad. There's no good. Everything just is. And everything just is, and I can do everything because there's no good, there's no bad. There's only things that come channeled through me. So when I have a sexual desire for something, now that is not me, it's coming from source, wanting to give through me. Gosh, like the bunch of spirituality and sexuality mixed together, it just makes me want to vomit. Keep sexuality and spirituality far apart from each other. It has nothing to do with each other. This idea that we can just do some tantra meditation or some stuff, and now we are sexually connecting with each other, and we're bonding, and all of this stuff is just masking this idea that you're not coming from ego. You're coming from ego. You're just horny, you're just sexual, okay? If you at least admit that you're doing that, that's fine. But now you're masking it by this spirituality, saying you're doing some channeling of tantra or whatever. And it's this Zen Devil behavior, because now everything is coming from source. Everything is coming from God. And there is no ego in whatever you do, because you're on your pedestal. You're on your selfless pedestal. So everything from you is just godlike. It's just perfect. It's just a reflection or a mirror. This is a big flaw, because it's not. You have a human ego till the day you die, because you're waking up and you're eating breakfast. That in itself is ego. It's not this big idea of ego. It's you maintaining your body. That's ego. You surviving, that's ego. You wanting to have sex, that's ego. All of that is ego. But it's not a bad thing necessarily, like, oh, you have a bad ego, whatever. It's just ego. But then don't mix that with this idea that I'm one in spirituals. I was channeling that I needed to eat something right now. It was a message from God that I needed to eat this food right now. No, you're just hungry. You're just hungry. You're just horny. Stop this idea of I don't have an ego. Stop this idea that you're on a pedestal. You're always on the path. If you're enlightened, you're on the path. Still, if you're not enlightened, you're on the path. Still, you're always on the path till the day you die. So no one is perfect, no one is a teacher, no one is really there, because we're all alive, we're all trying to survive. And being a Zen Devil means you transcend, and in other words, you bypass all of your humanness. You no longer have an ego, everything is a channel, everything is coming from this oneness, and if you do something bad, there's no bad or good, there's only non-duality, there's only everything being one, and that's it. That's very flawed thinking. Very flawed thinking. I feel like I need to do something about this because it's nowhere to be talked about. No one is talking about this. No one is talking about Zen Devil. No one is talking about what's happening really. Everyone is just talking about spirituality and the I am and the consciousness, but we're not talking about something more important than all of that. What is that all of these teachings are creating Zen Devils every single day. And me, myself, I have been, and I'm still am, a little bit of a Zen Devil. But I'm aware that I'm that. I'm aware that I'm doing some Zen Devil behavior sometimes. But people are not aware that they're doing Zen Devil behavior. So they really think, they really believe that they're on this pedestal and that they're now talking from consciousness all the time. It's not about something you need to transcend. It's not like you have to transcend your humanness and you have to transcend your ego. It's just that you have to be aware that there's going to be a monkey in your mind till the day you die. So if there's going to be a monkey in your mind operating your system, you got to set some rules into place so that monkey's not going to go loose for your own sake, for your own sanity. And for everyone else, it's best if you have some rules into place. And this is why religion came to be. It's because there was a necessity for rules. You might think all these rules are obvious, or like, of course you shouldn't steal or kill. These are not obvious rules. These were not obvious back in the day. If you look at apes, they're not living to these rules. They're just doing whatever optimizes their survival. And the same way, humans live like that too. I live like that too. You live like that too. So we have to become aware that we are operating like that. And if we don't set rules into place, we're gonna be a monkey that's gonna be doing all kinds of manipulative, devilish bullshit. So in the next part, I will actually give you some examples, not just of Bentinho Massaro, but also from back in the day of what happened with people that were not following the traditions. They were just doing whatever they wanted, and how that ended up, how that actually became cult-like. Doesn't mean necessarily it was a cult, but there were stories of things that became almost cult-like, that almost became full of toxicity and manipulative games being played out of the name of spirituality. So never sit on your high horse. Never be on your high horse. Always be learning, and not just from teachers, from yourself, from life, from everything. Be learning and know that you're always on the path. You're never there. Even if you're enlightened, you're never there. What did they teach? You become enlightened, chop wood, carry water. The journey never ends. You always got to keep disciplined. You always got to keep working on yourself. There is no end. There is no finish line. No one is perfect. We are all humans. Yes, we have this being side of us. That's this conscious side of us. But we also have this human part of us. And that's not gonna go away till the day we die. And that's what we got to become aware of. This is why I'm making this video. I hope that someone gets touched by this and really starts to contemplate for themselves how they have been, maybe it's Zen Devil themselves, or how they have been following some Zen Devil, following their teachings and thinking that a direct path is the best way to move forward. It's not. And that's also why a direct path has been hidden for a long time, to not show everyone a direct path towards enlightenment, because it is dangerous. It's very dangerous. It's like telling a monkey that they are God. It's not good. If you tell a monkey that they're God, they're going to use all of that to manipulate and optimize their survival. And they're going to become the leader of the tribe. Now they are God. Not good. It's not good. That's why we'll make a part 2. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. Let me know in the comments your ideas about Zen Devil. And I will see you in the next video.